Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Back Nine Report, where we break down the stories behind the scorecards. I'm Carlos Torres, and tonight we turn the page to golf's postseason, the 2025 FedEx Cup playoff, 3 weeks, three events, one ultimate champion. Joining me always is the one and only my co-host and fellow golf mind, Fred Alvader. Fred, we got a stacked show ahead of us from who made the field, who didn't, what's changed in the format, and who I think might surprise us down the stretch. How are you today?
Yeah, I'm curious to see who you pick for your favorites. I'm going to go probably with the homers, with the top guys. But yeah, no, it's all good. Beautiful weather up here in Cadillac, Michigan, all week, and got the member guests at the club this weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that'll be a lot of fun. So I'm going to get a lot of golf in. But looking forward to watching the first tournament of the FedEx Cup playoffs, the FedEx St. Jude Championship, Carlos, this week.
Definitely. The top 70 players in the FedEx Cup standings are in Memphis this week for the FedEx Cup, FedEx St. Jude Championship at TPC Southwind. The stakes are high. This isn't a four-event playoff anymore, with only three events and the field shrinking every week. Every shot's gonna count. So now let's talk about who didn't make it because there were some big names. Let's start left on the outside looking in. So let's start talking about some of them. We start with Adam Scott. His streak of 16 straight FedEx Cup playoff appearances ends here. A
And
former
he had a,
Masters
he had a
champ.
pretty good year, for a
He did,
40
and
something, 45-year-old guy. He had a pretty good year.
I mean, we saw him from time to time atop of the leaderboards, not winning that way, right? But atop there, you would see him that top 10 finishes, but somehow he just didn't make it. He's one of the most consistent ball strikers on the tour, but the numbers just didn't add up. Max Homa was another name that we can talk about who has become one of the most talked about players in the last few years. He missed the cut. Gary Woodland, particularly, oh my God, that was a heartbreaker. I mean, he entered last week inside the top 70, but a poor finish at the Wyndham Championship, dropping him out. So he was right there, but that final round sealed his fate. So, other names that we can mention, maybe Billy Horschel, Kevin Kisnell, Joel Damon. So all of them playoff veterans or fan favorites. Play, Fred, this year's playoffs have a different field, doesn't it?
It does a little bit. The guys have had a pretty good year. The signature events are doing what they're supposed to do. We haven't seen anybody leaving for the LIV lately. The purse is up. The signature events, along with the majors and the players, that gives the guys, like 13, 14 events right there to make a lot of money. And the top guys do that very well. They throw in a couple other things like maybe the Scottish, like maybe an event other like Scotty plays down there in Dallas at the Nelson. So just another tournament here or there to get their 15 in. But yeah, it's been a good year. One of the names you didn't talk about, Sahith Nagala, he's cleared out at 147. And he's been a major player the last couple of years. He's been right up there. Um, the only player to fall outside the top 70 that was in was Benny On. He missed, and then Chris Kirk actually moved up. He started outside the top 70, and as a matter of fact, he started at 73, and he moved up. So into the top 70. I think he ended up like 62 or something like that. He had a really good week. He finished strong. He really played well on Sunday, on the weekend, actually. But Adam Scott really kind of surprised me when I was doing this, looking this up, that he was that far down, clear down to 90, because he had a pretty good year. Every time I saw him, he was in contention or, up in top 25. Homa is a mystery. He just had a poor year. Don't know why. He started playing better at the end of the year, but just not quite enough, fast enough. So, um, yeah, there was a lot of movement during that final round, Carlos. I don't know if you watched any of it on Sunday, but David Thompson was high as 67, but a double bogey late in his round moved him outside the top 70. He made a putt. He made, what was it, a 70-foot putt on about 15 or 16 or something. And that moved him up inside, like to 67 or something. And then somebody else drained a putt and it moved him back down. And plus, then he made a double at the end and it just couldn't quite pull it off. really surprising. Now, Nico Echeverria, he was already in the top 70, and he was runner up after the front nine on Sunday, and he just fell apart in the back nine. He couldn't find his driver at all, and he was constantly hitting from the rough. Um, he still finished at 62, but he fell. I think he fell clear down to like 19th or 20th or something like that in a tournament. He was clear up to after the front nine. He was tied. He was runner up. He was like 5, 6 shots behind Cam Young. Oh, Cam Young, did he have a great tournament or what? What do you think about Cam Young's finally getting a win?
Oh my God, finally he got through. I mean, all that potential that we've talked about him, that power. When his putter, everything fell together for him finally in this tournament. And we're going to talk, I'm going to mention him a little bit farther on the players to watch, but definitely that is a very big confidence builder. He finally makes the breakthrough. The ice has been broken. So I think good things are in store for him, but great to see him finally breaking through. Great player, great person. Great to see him win finally.
Yeah, we've been expecting him to win for a couple of years. And what was this? This is the 94th event. He was rookie of the year when he came up 4 years ago. Always been a top line player, just couldn't quite get the win. I think he had what 7 or 8 runner up finishes, something like that. I mean, that was the knock. I don't. Most people can't remember back when Tom Watson, before Tom Watson became Tom Watson, he had a whole bunch of runner ups. One year, I think he had like 4 runner ups, and everybody was, oh, he can't win. He chokes on Sunday. He can't win. Well, once he broke through, it worked out pretty good for him. And we could see the same thing from Cam Young probably. And I think you're right. He could be a factor in these playoffs for sure. One guy I do want to mention, Mark Hubbard. He was in the mix to make it the top 70. He was in the top. He was inside the top 70 for a while. He had the best attitude in the interview with Amanda after his round. He admitted he was really tired. He'd been playing for several weeks in a row. He really wanted to go home. He hadn't been home, and he said, if I make it, fine. I think when he got done with his round, he was inside the top 70, but then he, ended up moving down. Guys did better after him. He said if he made it, he would be happy, and it'd be great to go to Memphis. But if he didn't, he was great to go home because he hadn't been home for a while. Get to go home for a few weeks, and at where he has at number 72 or 77 or whatever he's at, um, he's gonna probably he's got a good 1 or 2 events in the fall will keep him inside the top 100, so he keeps his card. So that's really all he's concerned about. So I thought he had the best attitude of the whole thing. If I'm in, I'm in, great. But if I don't, I'm going to go home. I'm really tired. I want to be home.
Yeah, of those players that barely missed, you mentioned David Townsend. He looked poised to make it until late season slump. Ben Griffin, Taylor Montgomery, and Justin Lauer. Those were players who were knocking on the door, but just couldn't quite close. Meanwhile, Matty Schmidt secured that final spot, and he'll be teeing it up this week. So you can only imagine the tension for those guys coming down that 72nd hole last week. I mean, it would have
Yeah.
been
You could
incredible.
see it, man. They were missing shots all over the place, chipping. All that Echeverria, he went through a stretch where he couldn't chip the ball. It was ugly.
You could see that it got to them, but definitely that's what we want to see. Hey, who can make it through? Because those that earn it are the ones that are going to be here. And the course is going to be, let's talk a little bit about Southwind itself. It's a par 70, just over 7,200 yards, and one of the toughest tests on tour. That Bermuda rough is unforgiving. And
There's
water is in play.
a lot of water
Yeah,
there
water
too.
is in play on more than half the holes, especially at 11, the Peninsula Green that short part three, it's a shot that can make or break a round. So I'm going to be watching how they do that. Weather-wise, it's Memphis in August, so we're talking humid, muggy, potentially stormy, energy sapping. Condition could lead to delays, but also to soft greens, meaning scoring could get low if players can stay sharp. So, how you see the course, Fred?
Well, we've seen all kinds of different guys win there. I think it does favor a bomber if he can keep it in play. Because he's going to have wedges into all these greens. 7,200 yards, par 70. That's not that long for these guys. One hole, number 5, is a par 5 for the members. But for the pros, they knock it back to a 485-yard par 4. Long hitters, I think, probably have the advantage like most places. The rough is, I don't know, you get that Bermuda rough. the ball can sit down in there and be tough to dig out. But on the whole, guys usually play pretty well here. The scores are usually pretty low at TPC Southwind. The biggest thing I think, Carlos, this week is 95-degree temperatures. These guys have been playing a lot. It's been a long season since January, February when they really got rolling. Um, Maybe some of these guys like Scotty and like Xander, who actually had another month off early in the year because of injury, maybe they're in better shape because maybe their legs aren't as tired. Maybe their back's not as sore, shoulders aren't as sore. Maybe I don't know, but I think it's who's going to be fit. You know, who's the fittest guy? Because you're talking about temperatures in the 90s, 90 mid 90s every day down there. So it's going to be a physical test more than anything else, I think, Carlos.
Yeah, so let's talk about this week specifically, not moving forward, but where are we watching? I would say start with the obvious, right? We can't watch Rory McIlroy. He said, "Well, I'm just gonna take a break. I'm not gonna be here." So let's start with Scotty Scheffler. He's the world number one, has been in contention almost every week, leads the tour by a mile in ball striking stats. So he has to be mentioned. Hideki Matsuyama, he's the defending champ here and seems to play better the tougher the setup gets. So I wouldn't get passed by him. You know who I really like is Victor Hovland to contend. He's due. He's been trending upward. I think he can make it. Sam Burns has the kind of game that fits Southwind, especially with his ability to hold putts when it counts. And for a true dark horse, if you're looking, I'm looking for Harris English. He's quietly had a solid season, and he's won at Southwind before. He's comfortable here and could fly under the radar. So, who are you looking for this week specifically?
So I think the play of Xander Schauffele has been not quite what he's looking for sure. And I think he needs to make a statement yet this year. I would not be surprised to see him win this week. Scotty has got to be the number one pick, even though he's been off now a week and maybe he won't be as sharp this week. But I guess he's been off for a couple weeks, right? Maybe won't be quite as sharp. He hadn't played since the Open, but you still got to pick him. I mean, he's got to be the odds-on favorite for sure. You mentioned Cam Young, and now that he's broken through and had a win, that confidence is in there, right? And he's a guy that doesn't get too high, get too low. I can see him go on a win streak and maybe do real well in the whole playoffs. I like him a lot. And another guy that kind of off the radar a little bit, but he seems to always do well. Tommy Fleetwood. I mean, it's time for this guy to win. Cam Young got his win, and Tommy Fleetwood needs to get a win, or at least place high so he is a factor in the playoffs. So yeah, I guess those are the guys I would be thinking about, Carlos, right there.
Definitely, I would agree with that. I think it's those are the encompassing ones for this week. But now let's talk a little bit about the season-ending bonuses because the PGA Tour has made some big changes to the FedEx Cup pay structure. That old system was one massive payout at the end axed. Instead, the 100 million bonus pool is paid out in three stages. The first one of those just happened right now after the Wyndham Championship, rewarding the top performers of the regular season. Scotty Scheffler for finishing number one took a very sweet whooping $10 million
Took
from
two
that
weeks off
bonus
and made
pool.
10 million. Not a bad deal.
Not a bad one. No, I'll take that one. Rory, who's not going to be here this week, he earned 4 million for his second place, and others in the top 10 also received a substantial bonus check. Seb Strack at number three, 1.2. So, Fred, I think is a great way to reward consistency throughout the season, not just in the playoffs. What do you think about this new format, Fred?
I think this is one of the best things the PGA Tour has ever done. They split this 100 million up into three different paydays. The first one we're just seeing right now, and you documented the top three players. Russell Henley got 1 million. Justin Thomas got 800,000. Ben Griffin 700,000. Harris English 650. JJ Spawn 600. Tommy Fleetwood 550, and Keegan Bradley got 500,000. And they had great years. Okay, they're in the top 10 of the FedEx Cup at the end of the season. They should be rewarded for that. Yes, they made a lot of prize money during the year, got a good percentage of the purses, but it's a year-long deal. Let's reward them for having a good season. Give these guys something else to shoot at. I like it a lot. And then, as you know, they're going to pay another 20 million of bonuses out after the BMW. When they get down to 30 players, those 30 players are all going to get a nice bonus. So then when they do have the tour championship, everybody starts even. You've got your bonus money already. Everybody starts even. And then at the end, the winner is going to get 10 million instead of 25. And the purses are down, related down like that. So I think this is a wonderful thing. I don't know why we didn't think of this a long time ago. I like this a lot, Carlos.
Definitely, and we're going back to the traditional stroke play for the final week. So whoever plays the best golf or 4 days wins the FedEx Cup. So that's another great thing. Still there's plenty of money on the table. The total championship winner takes $10 million. Every finalist still gets a big bonus
10
cut.
million, 25 million, after, yeah, what, it's after 5 minutes, who cares?
It's just, so it's not just a trophies, life-changing money, definitely. So, Fred, all right, Fred, now for my picks for the whole playoffs. This isn't about who's ranked the highest, but who I think has the game, the mentality to win these three high-pressure events. So here are my five faves to take home the FedEx Cup title. Surprise at number one. I mean, amazingly surprising for everybody, Scotty Scheffler. Okay. He's the most consistent player right now on the planet. His ball striking is second to none, and he's proved that he can win big events. It would be a shock if he wasn't in contention every single week this next 3 weeks. I'm going to put number two, the defending champ, Victor Hovland. And he knows how to navigate this pressure packed format. His record in this event speaks for itself. And his game, hey, it's perfect for the demanding courses in the playoffs. Now, another player, number three for me, Sander Schauffele. He's been quietly consistent all year. And he's a proven winner in big moments, has a solid record at TPC Southwind and East Lake. And this feels like a year he could put it all together. It's like he's been flying under the radar and he's ready to pounce when it really counts. Now, I'm going to pick at number four, JT, Justin Thomas. He's a two-time FedEx Cup champion. He knows what it takes to win this trophy. He's been playing some great golf lately, and his clutch gene is perfect for the playoffs. I expect a lot of him this in this playoffs. And finally, I'm gonna pick Cameron Young. He's coming off a victory last week. Can't ignore that momentum. Like you mentioned and we talked, finally he broke through. I think that monkey is off his back. He has a very big momentum going with him. That is a builder, a confidence builder. And his driver, oh my God, that's a huge weapon. And if his putter stays hot, he's a serious threat to a field like this. So those are my picks, Fred. What do you think? Any of these guys on your list?
Oh, I like him. I like him a lot. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to stay with Xander Schauffele. I think in these playoffs, I think he's going to have a good playoff season. I really believe that. Of course, Colin Morikawa, he's my guy. I always pick him, right? And he's not had the greatest year this year. He's done okay, but I think he's got something to prove rounding out the year here. I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a really good finish. Um, I mentioned Tommy Fleetwood. I really believe that this would be a great stage for him to have a big finish and blow away all the doubters that says he can't win. I do like JT. I think he's playing better of late. And of course, you gotta like Scotty, right? I mean, you gotta pick him. I don't know that he will win any of the events, but when he gets that final event, I think he'll be ready. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him win the Tour Championship again and pocket that 10 million. And if, for my long shot, I guess I'll pick Sepp Straka. I don't know how much of a long shot he is. He finished what, top 10 in the at the end of the year here, so he had a great year. Long hitter, just has been playing really well. So that's my list, Carlos. So I'm going to stick with that.
Well, Fred, it's going to be an incredible few weeks. I can't wait to see how it unfolds. With a new format, huge bonuses, and the battles for spots in the signature events next season, the drama is guaranteed. So, any closing thoughts?
No, just it's been a really good season. The signature events are doing what they're supposed to be doing. They're keeping the guys happy, putting a lot of money in their pockets. And the big names that we would expect to see are in the top 70 with just a couple exceptions. But all in all, it's a great field. This top 70, this should be a really good tournament this week. And we're down to the best of the best. So these next 3 weeks should be very interesting to watch, Carlos.
Well, that wraps up our playoff preview. If you enjoyed tonight's show, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the Back Nine Report, which is available wherever you get your live podcasts and all our social channels. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Carlos Torres, along with Fred Vader. We see you on the Back Nine. Take care. Thank you so much.